Good morning, everybody. Here we sit underneath a steel grey dawn sky in the northeast corner of magnificent South Africa. To my left, your right-hand side, a ground hornbill is going doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. And because you're on live safari and you've got up so early to be with us, I have a surprise for you. David, would you kindly face the camera towards the front of the vehicle? What do you think? There, everyone, is the Nkuhuma pride. And they are doing what lions do best, which is absolutely nothing. Now, you are on a live safari, as I've said. If you've just stumbled across this website, you are most welcome indeed. My name is James Henry. On camera, as you may have heard, is David Eastall. Yes, that is indeed his surname, Eastall. Yes, we don't know where it comes from. And here's the lions now moving. There were two of them here, two of them further on. In Nkuhuma Pride, we don't know where the rest are, and we were alerted to their presence by that just primal, magnificent African sound of lions calling just before the dawn. So hopefully they'll do that again. But it is a lovely morning, and I think although we're under some steel grey clouds now, I think it's going to open up and be quite a pleasant sunny day. Well, I hope so. On the other vehicle, there is no one. We are on our own out here at the moment. This is simply because Wendy is still filming a promotional video for WildEarth, and so that's why we won't be going live with her. You may see her within the sighting every so often. She's standing by just around the corner, hoping for a bit of good light, good sunlight on these lions. But I think for the next moment, or for the next little while, let's sit with them and let's watch what they do. There's a lot of general game around here. I think their opportunity to hunt is probably well disappeared. This is quite bright light for, well, it's not bright for us, of course, but it is quite bright light for any of the animals out here. So let's go and see where the others are. Welcome to it, like I say. Please talk to us. Hashtag SafariLIVE or questions at wildearth.tv. If you're on the email, the YouTube chat works very well. It'd be good to hear from you. Ask us any questions you want to. Especially as I am on my own today with David. We would like to have as many conversations with you over the course of the next 3 hours as we possibly can. Louise is in the final control, and she is being ably assisted by Jerry. Sorry, I'm just struggling a little bit with my communications. We'll go again with that, Louise. There they are. Look at them all there. Now you can see them all. So, I think I'm hearing your name correctly. Kaga 6. You say that I'm a magician. No, I'm not a magician at all. It is just simply blind luck that brought us where we are now. I'm just going to call Jamie. She's helping with the promotion today. So I will be talking to her periodically on the Game Driver radio. So you'll have to excuse me every so often. Jamie, come in.
Standing by.
Please feel free to approach all four here at the junction of Fireside Chat.
Copy that, thank you. License there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear them, everyone, but just off sort of in front of the vehicle, so right-hand side of your picture, a very strident calling of at least one ground hornbill, a beautiful sound of the pre-dawn. They always call just before the sun comes up. Huge, endangered turkey-like bird with a massive chisel-like bill. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. And that's about all the light we have here at the moment, given that the clouds are very thick. But soon things will brighten up, and when we came out here, David and I, it was dark, completely dark. It probably looks fairly completely dark to you, but in about 10 to 12 minutes it will be light. Now these lions are still looking around here, hoping that something might not see them. That's why we were sitting in the dark initially, was that we thought maybe there might be a prey animal around that had not seen them. But even before we got here, the impala were alarming off to the right-hand side of your picture, and to the left, the wildebeest and zebra were going, and that's how they tell each other that trouble is afoot, the danger is nigh. Hello, Ola Nick. An interesting question from you. Welcome to it. It's lovely to have you with us. You wanted to know if these are Transvaal lions or another species. Ola Nick, I don't know what a Transvaal lion is, to be brutally honest. This is the standard issue African lion. Same species that occurs throughout the continent. There's some debate as to whether there are indeed some subspecies or whether they're all just one animal, and certainly the animals, the 500 or so of them that occur in India, might be a different subspecies. I've never heard the term Transvaal lion, and so I think this is just the, well, I know it is, it's just the standard issue African lion, which is Panthera pardus. And like I say, some scientists will tell you that there are a few subspecies, and some will say it's just the same animal. So I wouldn't refer to it as a Transvaal lion, but, Olenek, I'd be very interested to know where that comes from, which part of, which book you've been reading that's given you that term. I'd be very interested to know. Thank you for your question. Look, look, look. So some information on the wireless from Louise. Thank you, Louise, and Jerry. Apparently a Transvaal lion is supposed to be a subspecies and possibly also known as the Kalahari lion. Now, look at this. They're going to play now. Just watch the right-hand side, Dave. There we go. She's coming in to say hello. Just sharpening their claws and marking territory. Now, a question from Michelle about where on the reserve we are, which is a valid question. We're right slap bang in the middle of it, Michelle. We're sitting on quarantine clearings, so-called because it used to be used as a sort of quarantine boma. So for species that were brought into the area, they would have been quarantined on this clearing for a while before being released, and that's why it's retained the extremely unromantic name quarantine clearings. You'd think it would be called something like, I don't know, something exotic, some wonderful Shangaan word, or perhaps a Zulu word. No, it is known by the medical term quarantine clearings. And it certainly is one of the most attractive parts of the reserve. It's really nice kind of parkland, which we as human beings, with our human psychology, find extremely attractive, with big trees and open grass underneath, and that tends to make us feel safe. This is wonderful information. Thank you, Angie. Thank you so very much. There's an article or blog from Cheetah Plain saying that the 5th Nkuhuma lioness, so there are 5 of them in this pride, is mating, in fact, with one of the Birmingham boys. Which one are we on there, Dave? Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah, she is mating with one of the Birmingham boys somewhere around Cheetah Plains, which I think is fantastic. And we know that at least 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of the Styx lionesses are pregnant. We know too that they have sired some youngsters at the Mala Mala Pride, so soon the Nkuhumas will complete the imperial takeover of the Birmingham boys by producing some cubs of their own, and that will be very exciting indeed. And as I said the other day, when we were doing a little rain section under the water, no, what's the word I'm stretching for? Roof. Under the roof we were doing a rain section, and we spoke about how incredibly cute a lion cub is. I think the cutest thing in the bush. Now that lioness looks to me a bit ropey. Her hips are sticking out a bit. And she looks a bit hungry. I don't know which one of them this is. And the Nkuhuma pride lionesses, the 5 of them, are relatively easy to recognize. We have what's known as the slit-eyed one. She's got very kind of narrow eyes, which is interesting. There's the amber-eyed lioness, who's my personal favorite, of course. Then we have a sub-adult, who's very clearly a sub-adult, a semi-sub-adult with a few spots on her nose, and then a much older female with a completely black nose, the only one with a completely black nose, so she's at least sort of 7 or 8 years old. Now, apparently the best way to identify lions, you can see those whisker spots there just underneath her nose. I've never managed to do it. You really need great photographs. But that's the best possible way. Well, James, Richard, you reckon that these lionesses are smaller than the Styx lionesses. James, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I think that they're all pretty much standard-sized lionesses. And this one certainly looks a little bit like a ropey Labrador at the moment, but that's mainly on your picture. I'm only sitting about 12 meters from her, and although in your picture she looks like a dog's lying next to the side of the road, she's actually a lot larger than that, and she's bunched herself up in the slight coolth of this morning. But, James, I think that you'll probably find they're actually related to the Styx lionesses, somewhere in prehistory. They would have been related, and I think that they are most definitely the same size. There'll be lots and lots of genetic flow through the population of lions. Okay, let's move a little bit forward and get another look at those others on the clearing there. I think if anything is going to happen, if there's going to be any action, that's where it's going to come from. These ones over here. Rusty's brakes are being rusty at this stage. There we go. This is an interesting question from Ravi. Ravi, your question's always fantastic. Well, that lioness has spotted something. She's thinking about hunting. She's stalking. She's stalking a baby wildebeest. I'm going to move. I'm going to turn the lights down. Let's just go and have a slow look. I mean, it's unlikely that she'll manage to catch anything. There's some zebra watching her. I'm just trying to get the... I don't want to get too close. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can see. You can see the zebra just beyond there, and beyond them, some baby wildebeest. But those zebra are very wily indeed. They've seen these lions. They know precisely what's going on. And Dave, if you swing around quickly to the left there, you can see this one hiding behind a tree, or thinks she's hiding. She's smelling something, and then to the left of her, there's another one just lurking behind a bush. And they're all looking about the place, seeing if they can see something good to eat.
Weren't you trying to reach me earlier?
Negative, just like
So, James, I reckon these are all about 120 kilos. That's a pretty big lion, or lioness. 240 pounds or so. And it's so interesting how our impressions of size, especially through a screen, are modified by our impressions of what things should be and what we think we've seen. And I've always find it interesting to ask people how big they think a lion is, or how big they think a lioness is, and how much they think it weighs. And you'll find that there's not a huge amount of variation out here. It's nothing like in human beings, where some people are my size, some people are Jamie Patterson's diminutive size, and others are the size of Brent Leo Smith. You know, there's such a massive variation in size. Here you'll find that, although there is some variation, it's much less marked. So the females are much smaller than the males. You'll find the females in an area because their diets are very similar, will probably not weigh very different amounts. Deviation of mass between them will be very small. Thank you, Natasha, for a question that I cannot answer. You're in Ontario and you want to know how many teeth a lion has. I'm going to guess, and I should probably know, but then I'm going to ask that somebody try and find out for me. So they've got 4 incisors on the top and 4 on the bottom, 4 massive canines, and I'm told that they have 30 teeth as adults. So let's work out what those are. There's the 4 incisors, top and bottom. There are 4 canines. That takes us to what, David? 12. So there must be then probably 8 molars. 5? No, it can't be. That cannot be right. I'll try and figure it out, everyone. Here we go. 12 incisors, 4 canines, 10 premolars, 4 molars. I'm astounded that there would be 10 premolars. It means that there must be an odd number on top jaw and bottom jaw. Cool, thank you very much. That's really nice information. Now, of course, a molar and a premolar on a lion is very different from the molars and premolars that you have. Yours are designed for crushing things like seeds and for masticating things like meat and vegetables, whereas a lion's molars are very sharp-edged. They're not flat like ours. So if you run your tongue over the back, your back teeth, you can feel that they're flat. They're flat in the bottom there. Whereas if a lion runs his teeth over the back of his, or runs his tongue over the back of his teeth, you will find very sharp edges for cutting meat. And lions, of course, don't chew their food. They just bite off enormous chunks and swallow it whole. She looks like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, doesn't she? Let's go here. Check this one now. She's lurking behind the tree. Oh, stepping out from her hiding place. Yeah, they do look pretty hungry, I must say. Look how beautifully she hides behind there, how she just disappears behind the colour of that fallen terminalia tree. Hey Brian, we were talking about subspecies of lions earlier, and the Kalahari lion, what was referred to as the Transvaal lion. The Kalahari lion, I suppose, might be considered by some to be a subspecies. And then you want to know about the Barnaby lion. I'm afraid I've never heard of a Barnaby lion, unless it's maybe the Barbary lion you're talking about. The Barbary lion, of course, comes from the Barbary area of the Atlas Mountains in northern Africa, and I think in very much the same way might be considered by some to be a separate subspecies, but by many it would be considered the same species. Now they do, as you say, I'm just going to move around so we can get a better view here. As you say, they do have amazingly thick manes that go right down, sort of halfway down the back and down the chest. A bit like mine. My mane goes all the way down the chest. Now, David, yours doesn't, so you're not a Barbary lion. I am a Barbary human being. And where's the other one gone? Just look. Can you see it there? Just lurking next to the termite mound. You can only see one lion. But if you look very carefully, you can see one lion's tail sticking out the back. So there you can see a wildebeest in the background. Can you see the wildebeest? Just stay right where you were, Dave. He's just walking through the woodland to the back. There it is, to the left-hand side of your screen, about to disappear. And that's what they're looking at, of course. But the wildebeest know what's going on here. They're very wily creatures. And you can see in the flat light, and by flat light I just mean the fact that there is no contrast because the sun is not out yet. Everything kind of does meld into the background. Yeah, wildebeest and zebra, huge herd. Now that wildebeest herd has done so well to escape the attentions of the lions. They've managed to raise all 10 of their little babies to the month that they have now. They're almost 3 months old now, well, 3.5 to 4, some of them. And that means that they will be very adept at getting away from things that want to eat them. Hello, Anna. You want to know where tree climbing lions are found? Tree climbing lions, again, the same species as this. Look at them stalking away here. I think they're wasting their time, but we'll carry on watching. The other one's got up and is now moving as well, Dave. Also going behind a scraggly apple leaf tree. Anna, a tree climbing lion is the same lion as this, and they're found often in the Lake Manyara National Park of Tanzania. And it is thought that they climb the lions in order to get away from the biting flies that they have there. And so these lions, as many of you will know, do climb trees sometimes, but it is highly unusual for them to do it here. In that Lake Manyara National Park, you'll find enormous trees. I think they're actually torchwood trees with lions draped about in the boughs. Marvelous. It's just, I'm going to give them a bit of space, and when we get too close, just so that we can make sure we don't disturb them on this, what I think is a foolhardy dawn raid. Nice question from Monkey Man here as we watch them sort of on the hunt. Monkey Man, you want to know how close they have to be in order to catch a wildebeest or a zebra. Monkey Man, within 20 meters. Now, the lions are over here to us. They're about 20 meters from us. And then that's 2 of them. And then to the left, there's another one just where I'm pointing now, underneath that fallen tree. To the right of that fallen tree, David. There's another fallen tree with a lion under it. There they are. And the wildebeest, I'm afraid, are at least 150 meters in the direction that she's looking. So just over there, under that big green sort of thicket to the left of that. And they seem to have moved off now. You can actually see them moving there. If you go left a bit, Dave, you might see them straight over the bonnet. There we go. So she's got to close down at least another 130 meters. It's an interesting one, Judy. I was just wondering this myself. You want to know, Judy, if these lions are capable of some sort of forethought? Do they plan their hunt? Judy, I don't know. I think it's entirely instinctual, you know. I think that they do communicate on a level, though, that we don't understand, to be honest. I think that when you see them move off on the hunt, it's almost like there's been an invisible signal given, but there's no obvious sound like there is with elephant herds when they move. There's no obvious communication. I think that they do communicate, though. I just don't think we understand exactly how they do it. You also want to know, are they capable of malice and forethought? Judy, I would say that very few animals out here are capable of malice. Are some nastier than others? Yes, to a certain extent, possibly they are. Are they able to plan something evil and then execute it? No, I don't believe that they are. I think they're largely acting purely on instinct. Remember, they don't have a moral code, if you like, that they worry about. They just do what they feel like doing. And I think the closer you get to us, does a chimpanzee, for example, have a moral code? No, it doesn't. But is a chimpanzee capable of deceit and capable of forethought? possibly much more so than a lion can, and we, in turn, much more so than that. I think that's a really interesting topic to discuss. Thanks, Judy. There's the other third one's come up here. And I don't know if you can still hear, but those ground hornbills just keep going. Now, Keith, you want to know basically who's leading this charge. Is there a leader, or do they vary who takes down what? Look, these wildebeest are coming up here, Dave. I think they can smell the lions, they can see them, and there's a big bull now come to have a look. Now, the lioness approaching him is about, Dave, what would you say, about 100 meters? Just over, but she's definitely been seen. Oh, that's a wonderful picture. Look at that wonderful light. So, Keith, I don't believe that there's necessarily a leader. I think possibly if we watch the Nkuhuma pride hunt every single time they hunt, we might find that there's a certain order of things that is maintained. Here she comes. They're all alarming at her. But yes, they will all take an animal down. Of course, they don't know where an animal's going to run, and often they will ambush it. The animal will run in a different direction towards the lioness that isn't actually hunting, or that isn't actually in the stalk, and she'll then take it down. All right, we're going to move here, just to give you a better view of what's going on. Interesting, everybody. The lions, at least the wildebeest, are now running all over the place. There's a lioness there. She's approaching the herd of wildebeest because she's seen the little ones. I'm very sure that she wouldn't be doing this if there were only big ones there. Just try and get when you get a picture of them all, Dave, if we've got a wide enough lens. Yes, we do. There's the lioness. And to the left now. Look, there they're running. The wildebeest are running. That's beautiful. Isn't that stunning? Here she goes. She's going to have a go. She's having a go. The others are not helping. Let's hold on. There she goes. I can see her running there, Dave, just to the left. She's blasting through here. Hold on, Dave. She's running flat out. Oh, she's going fast. Look at her moving. Look at her moving. This is unbelievable. Look at her go. She's still going. That was just unbelievable. Oh my goodness. How she didn't catch one of these little things, I don't know. That's so unusual. You don't see that. She was running like a cheetah after them. And the others just sat and watched in bemused astonishment as she totally discredited all the books on how a lioness is supposed to hunt. She approached them straight across the open. Well done, you clever girl. Well, not so clever, but you certainly gave us a hell of a thrill. I'm just going to try and see which one she is. Now, she's the kind of, not the oldest. She's probably the second oldest in the pride. She and Amber Eyes, I think, are very similar age. Oh, that was just fantastic. And Brent, I've got her here. She's stopped at the side of the clearing. Confirm the others are still sitting watching in bemused silence. Brent is also around, everyone.
There was one next to Jamie where they were just watching. I did see one of the others also run.
Apparently Brent says, I'm just going to let you hear him. He says he did see some of the others running, or one of the others running, but I don't think anything's happened. Let's just stay with our cheetah / lioness here. I've never seen that before, everyone. I've never seen a lioness run like that. Listen, they're calling now. Listen, here she comes, Dave. There she is. She's calling. Jerry, you're in Illinois and you want to know what the success rate is of a lion on a hunt. Not very impressive. I think you'll probably find it's not more than 20 or 30%. So 3 out of 10, 2 to 3 times out of 10, they will catch. If they adopted the approach that this lioness approaches, I think you'd find it would be much less than that. See, she's calling. You can maybe just hear her going, ooh, ooh. This is just too special. That's wonderful. Listen to them. Ooh. Ooh. I just can't believe the colours we're getting this morning, everyone. Even in this incredibly thick cloud, the colours of green and tawny and the tree stumps and the beautiful flush of verdant green that we have on the clearings, I just think is so wonderful. Look at her lying there. Yes, Kevin, I feel exactly the same way. You say you're out of breath from just watching her. Me too. That was incredible. And of course, we don't normally get that across a clearing where we can follow them at high speed and not disturb it. I mean, we were probably about 50 meters to the side of her. Here we go, Dave. Here comes the other one coming in to say hello. Just over there. Now, this is the one, I think, that we refer to as the slightly sort of narrow-eyed female. And she's also not a youngster. You can see her nose is completely black. She's also got extremely swollen nipples. That's interesting. That's very interesting, everyone. She's certainly not fat at all, and they're not suckle marks, but she's got very swollen teats. That's fascinating. This is wonderful. They're all 4 coming down here now. Here come the others. So as I was saying, in a clearing like this, you can stay with them. You can drive next to them, and it was, I don't know what your picture looked like. I wasn't looking at the picture at all. Oh, this is wonderful. Another one. Now, Shy Me, a very good question there. What happened to teamwork? Well, I think a few things, actually. You know, not to put too fine a point on it, I think they're generally very lazy. It is, of course, daytime, which means that they are, or they realize that everything can see them coming now. And I think you'll find that most of them were totally astonished that their colleague chose to approach those wildebeest straight out in the open. But what she did do was she panicked them. And those little ones, although, well, I mean, they're too big, they're quick now. 2 months ago, she would have had a very good chance of actually catching one because they would have got tired and they would have probably been unable to keep up that speed for the amount of time that they did. How far did they run? They probably ran about 400 meters, a quarter mile. They probably ran a quarter mile at that speed, that's for a cat like this who's supposed to stalk to within sort of 20 meters of their prey. That's quite far. That's a good run for one of these. And I mean, we were really moving. We were probably doing, at one stage, we were probably doing about, I don't know, about 30 miles an hour. And Christopher, you're in Arizona. You want to know if this is it. That's it. Will they stop hunting now? Will they try and follow that herd? They won't follow that herd, Christopher. I don't think so. I think that herd is probably somewhere near southern Zimbabwe at this stage. So I don't think they're going to follow the herd, Christopher. I think that they might, look, if something comes past here, they'd think about hunting it. But I mean, they're all four laid out here in the wide open space of the clearing, and that is not exactly typical hunting behavior. I think you'll find that they were hunting last night and probably failed quite dismally to catch anything. And so that's why they're just they'll try anything that they can in the morning before they go to sleep for the rest of the day. Around the corner side there, Dave. I think what we'll do is go around the side, just get a better view of them on that termite mound there. Diane, you say she's not breathing heavily after that impressive sprint. I agree. I think lions look like they're not running as fast as they are, though. I think they also look like they're not putting in as much effort as they might. Certainly, whenever I've seen a lion hunting and running, it always looks to me like they're just kind of loping along. But they are going, they've got such an incredible stride length. So the speed is much higher than you think it is, A. And B, I think they just look like they're not putting in that much effort, but I think you'll find that they are putting in an immense amount of effort to run at that sort of speed. They don't have that kind of, what we think of as if you think of a dog taking off running, it's got that incredibly fast initial bounding motion where the legs seem to all blur into one. These guys just immediately launch into this incredibly long bounding stride. It looks like they're not going for it, but they're actually going as fast as they can. Here they are on the flat termite mound, not a termite. Which sighting was that, David?
Must have been the one outside camp.
Ah, yes. Ex-Ranger, you say this is a very good practice for Dave, given the fact that the other day he claimed to have seen a lion chasing something in the middle of the day or just after breakfast. And Brent then went to have a look and couldn't find any tracks. And you say this will help him to identify lions in the future. Ex-Ranger, I think Brent has been very nasty to David, to be honest. I'm pretty sure he did see a lion. And they're quite difficult to mistake. Brent thinks that he saw a kudu chasing an impala, which I think is a little unfair. See, I've disappeared, everyone. But don't worry, David, I believe you.
Thanks, James.
Sandblaster, for your comment. You say prime condition these lions are in, and I would agree with you completely. Primed for anything, you say. I'm not sure how primed for anything they are. I think they're primed to snooze. They're hopefully going to have a nice playtime now. There's no heat coming out of the sun yet, so with any luck they'll do some playing. But the hunting, I think, is going to be pretty much over. But they are in good condition, Sandblaster, I agree. I think that they are in very fine condition. And of course, a thin lion is totally normal. They do get skinny if they don't eat, obviously. Look at that. See, her nipples aren't nearly as swollen as the other one. It's so amazing to watch them like this, kind of being friendly to each other and having a playtime and enjoying each other's company, while if you watch them at a kill together, they will absolutely smash each other to pieces. Let's go up the road here and hope that they don't go into some thick bush. We're just going to turn on the VR rig, everyone. Sorry, Louise, you're going to have to go again with that. Natasha, there's a question from you. I'm coming through. Now you want to know what animal the lions are most successful at catching out here. This pride is pretty adept at, they're quite variable. They catch quite a few buffalo, young buffalo these days, latterly, because they've lost the help of the young male who used to live with them. That's Junior, a great favorite amongst our loyal viewers. I'm just going to turn the VR on now. The VR, everybody, is this ball of GoPro cameras that you can see in the left-hand side of your screen, and that'll give us a 360 view of everything, so like a cylindrical, spherical view of the world. So if I start talking that way, that's why I'm talking that way. So, Natasha, this pride, yeah, pretty good with buffalo. Never seen them catch a giraffe. Look over here. Watch to the left there. About to scratch. I thought she was going to scratch. It's a pity. And then off to the front, of course, the front and left, the other two lions walking down the road. Sorry, my head in the way. All the cameras working, though. It's interesting. Terry and Santa Ana, since the females do most of the hunting, are they able to run faster than the males? I've read that they can. I don't believe it myself. They certainly look a bit more lithe and flexible, for example, than a male lion does. But a male lion is a powerful, powerful beast, and I think that they are extremely quick off the mark. And certainly they're not, I'm just trying to think of the human equivalent. If you look at a sprinter like Usain Bolt, for example, if you look at his build, he's muscly, he's big, he's not a skinny marathon runner type like a wild dog, for example. And I think that the same principle applies to a male lion. I think you'll find that although a male lion is big and look at them fighting there or playing, although a male lion is a very large animal and built for fighting, they are incredibly fast as well. So if we're a little slow getting to the lions on the camera, everyone, it's because Dave is operating, of course, a ball of GoPros at the same time. Right, let's get next to them. Now what this VR rig, for those of you who don't know, will do is it will allow a spherical view. So if you are eventually see this footage, you'll be able to see me talking to you, and just over to the left, of course, you'll see the lions walking in the front. One now pouncing into the bushes there, coming towards us, straight towards the front of the car. That is so cool. I don't know how on earth she got through that huge thicket. You'll be able to see the grey sky above. Ah, yes. Now, Ravi, sorry, I was completely distracted for your question. You wanted to know about the relationship between the local people here who live outside the park and the lions. So one up there on the front of the road, two off to the left now. Ravi, you'll find that the fencing here is effective enough to keep the lions out of the villages. So while certainly sometimes lions get out under the fence, sometimes they kill cattle, I can hear another one calling. Way in the distance. Ravi, basically, it's the chances of a human-lion conflict where a lion would harm a human being out here are almost negligible. So lions do sometimes get out of the reserve, and then they will normally kill cattle and then come back into the reserve. So that is not usual. It's quite unusual. The further north you go, the more usual it becomes because the fence isn't in such a good condition. But out here, it's really uncommon. Now, the difficulty then, of course, is what happens to that lion when they get out. This one is either coughing or has eaten something distasteful. No, eaten something horrible, going to have a vom. Anyway, Ravi, if a lion does get out, and if a whole pride gets out and they become a menace, obviously it then becomes very difficult to contain them. So sometimes they have to be relocated. But for example, if one of these lionesses got out of the fence, killed the cow, and then came back into the reserve, there's a whole arrangement for compensation for the local people if they lose cattle to lions like that. And then the lioness would just be left alone. But if they made a habit of it, then they would have to be moved. Look, 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 look. We're just fighting there. Not fighting, playing. Looks like they're fighting sometimes. We'll just get around in front of them there so we can stop the car and you won't get seasick while you watch these magnificent lions. It's so nice to see them doing something other than lying about, doing absolutely nothing, which is their general default position, which is not a criticism of theirs, it's just how they're built. We go through the trees here, just get into a position where we can see them. All just over there to the left-hand side. Wandering down the path there. Straight towards us. Here's Amber Eyes. Look at her eyes. There, we can see that very obvious amber colour. Look at her. She's only about a metre from the front of the vehicle, 3 feet. She's now hiding from her. She's hiding from her friend or her sister. Look, here they go. This is awesome. Did you hear that? Did you hear the sound of them running? That just gives you an indication of how big they are, of their incredible weight and size. Now, I don't know where the fourth one is. The fourth one's been kind of left behind. Can you see her, Dave? Oh, there she is. She's lying just to the front and left of the car. Brilliant. Okay, let's follow the three who are active. They're off now to the right. If you look to the right, you can see them there. Now digging. And then running. Now this is a very nice question from Matthew. Oh, look at them go. Sorry, we will try and get into a position where we can see them, but they're stalking each other here on the left-hand side. Matthew, you want to know if I think that this green vegetation is disadvantaging them because it's not obviously as typically coloured as they are. So if you watch the ones in front of us where they're walking through that long, what we call yellow thatching grass, you can see how the tawny colour is much better suited to that dry grass. Matthew, no, I don't think it does. I'll tell you why I don't think it does. Because they are designed, of course, to be camouflaged when the vegetation is at its most sparse. Now, in winter time, when it's brown and tawny, the same colour as they are, then the vegetation is very sparse. There are no leaves on the trees, and the grass is very short. and so it's easy for them to hide. But in summertime, when the leaves are like this, so if you watch this lioness coming off from the left-hand side here, you can see her coming through the green trees. Yes, the colour isn't quite as well camouflaged as it is in the tawny winter vegetation, but there's so much more vegetation, so many more leaves, and the grass is so much thicker that they're able to hide much more effectively than they would be in winter. So I hope that makes sense. I don't think it does disadvantage them. They use camouflage less in the summertime and cover more in the summer, and in the winter they will rely far more on the camouflage because there isn't quite so much cover. And I think the same principle would apply to a leopard. That's a beautiful picture. Gee, that's a lovely shot. She's calling. Listen. You hear her? Ooh. 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 So soft and subtle. And just see her throat moving. You can probably just see her throat moving there. Wonderful. Now, Star, you want to know about whether or not they use. You want to know whether or not they use their tails in the same way that a leopard does to basically tell alarm-calling animals that they mean no harm by flicking that white tail tip up. No, Star, I've never seen them do the same thing. That's an interesting question, but no, I've never seen them do that. So they're off to the front, dead straight front. We've got lioness. She's looking. They're stalking something now. Here goes to the left another one, and behind us, obviously, there's been some communication. It's the other lioness coming through here, back far left. She's coming through this thicket of scraggly trees. I thought they were stalking something, but they just saw each other, reacquainted themselves. Now watch. Let's see what happens. Watch the one on the ground and see if she jumps up. Yeah, look at her. Just like a house cat, preparing the hind legs. Getting perches with the claws in the ground. Look, look. Isn't that brilliant? Ears flattened against the... That is fantastic. Slight irritation there on the face of the older female. I think that is a slightly younger one there. And there's some impala alarm calling off to the far, sort of right in front of the vehicle. So I think they've smelt or seen these lionesses. So just the three of them at the moment. The fourth one, I think, is just further forward. Brilliant stuff. And again, you can hear how heavy they are. The mass is quite astonishing. They're way out in front. Is the fourth one. So we've got two on the right, one on the left, one out in front. And we're heading straight for the one in front. Make sure that my radio's turned up, because if something else happens, you do want to obviously know about it. But I think for the meantime, we'll stay with these wonderful lions. Watch them now. Watch them left and two right, one in front, and see them stalking each other. One on the right now about to stalk the one on the left. There they go. A combined attack. There There you can see the size difference of the one in the middle. Clayton, you want to know if these lions had never seen a Land Rover before, would they be so relaxed? Would they be so confiding? No, they would not. They would run. Lions that you see for the first time, I've seen a few times, they will run away. But it doesn't take long, because they're so confident, because they know that so little out here is a threat to them. It takes very little time for them to habituate, become used to vehicles, and then just relax completely around you. It's a very good question, of course, as to how on earth we can possibly be so close to Africa's apex predator. Well, second to us, of course. Hello, Luke. You thought for a second we'd got new cameras because the color is so different. That's a really great comment. So, it obviously looks so different. And it's so green now. You say it's so green that it made you think we had a different camera. I think that's an amazing observation. And I was thinking, I mean, I obviously know we didn't have new cameras. But I was watching this morning on the screen, on this monitor here that is in the vehicle. And I was thinking, but the color is just so magnificent. I haven't seen this for so long. It's exactly what it is. It's that everything's gone green. Now, they are stalking slowly through here, and I mean, they haven't seen anything to stalk. Oh, look, here we go. So there, scratching her claws, just like a house cat would. Look at that. Look at the claws. So I say they're stalking through here just simply because they have spread out, so they've spread out into that kind of hunting formation. They haven't spotted anything, so it's not like they're about to leap off again. And let me assure you, if we go through this area here, we won't be going at anything like the speed that we were earlier on. There's this youngster. This is a youngster here, the very skinny one, who keeps running up and having a play. Obviously been watching some cheetah, so they're all on the right hand side now, one behind and then the three in front here. Jeffrey, you want to know if they use their tails as a counterbalance while running like a cheetah does. So for those of you who don't know, a cheetah basically has an extremely heavy tail, which is used as almost like a rudder. It's not like a rudder, it's like a counterbalance, as Jeffrey says, where they will fling it from side to side in order to help them change direction quickly when they're chasing antelope or gazelles across the plains. But Jeffrey, no, I don't think lions would, because they're not normally running at those sorts of speeds for that length of time. So I think that you'll find that the tail proportionately is far smaller than that on a cheetah, and therefore would be pretty useless as a counterbalance. This is just wonderful having them stalking through here. Hello, Ravi. Another nice question. Very fresh wildebeest tracks here. Now, I said that they wouldn't follow the wildebeest herd. I suspect that maybe they are stalking them through here, hoping that they will get caught in the thickets here. That's interesting. Ravi, you want to know about whether or not you think that there's a skewed ratio of prey to predators, and is this some kind of evolutionary adaptation? Ravi, it is, and it's well known. It's completely normal, and basically, in any ecosystem, you will find that the ratio of prey to predators heavily favors the prey. And that's simply because, I mean, the higher up the food chain you are, the fewer of you there are going to be. it's a delicate, what we call dynamic equilibrium. On a very simple level, what you'll have, and you'll see this in, say, I mean, if you look at foxes and hares, for example, lions and wildebeest, or lions and their prey items, as the populations of prey go up, so the predator populations will start to meet them, and then once the predator populations reach a certain level, the prey populations will then start to decline, and as they start to decline, so the predator populations will follow them into decline. So it is this kind of dynamic equilibrium where the prey and predator numbers are constantly kind of dancing around each other. But always you will find that there are fewer predators than there are prey in any given ecosystem. That's just the way it works. Debbie, a nice question from you. Dr. Debbie, you want to know how much to throw off the hunt if one of the pride members is missing, like one of these lionesses is. She's busy solidifying, shall we say, her bond with the Nkuhuma, with the Birmingham boys. Look up here. Look up on the termite mound there. How cool is that? Oh, that's just wonderful. Dr. Debbie, I don't think hugely. Remember that often with these lionesses, 3 is kind of 3 and above. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of advantage to having any more in the pride as far as hunting goes. So while there are 4 of them here, one of them is a sub-adult, so maybe that is quintessential Sphinx-like lion behavior, isn't it? Let me just move this, see if we can get a decent shot here. You might get an epic screenshot of this. Close here, everybody, so just hold your breath, don't make any loud noises. That is awesome. That is something else, David. How's that?
Are you gonna come up to for that front on those inlets?
This is fantastic. Gary, you want to know why she wants to sit on that termite mound? Gary, simply because it gives her a vantage point. She can see what's going on around her. A termite mound is probably 10 feet high, more maybe, and so she's 10 feet above. Remember that the vegetation here is quite thick, but there's not much topography, so even 10 feet up will give you an amazing vantage. Look at this. Isn't that wonderful? I'm just going to quickly talk to Jamie. Go ahead.
Jen, were those animals still mobile?
Affirmative, slowly in a westerly direction. I'm just going to call them in now. Ephraim, we've just located Nkuhuma Pride, mobile west through the block from Zoe's Road. They will probably pop out at some stage on Impala Plains. This is incredible stuff. Oh, marvelous. I hope you got some screenshots there, everybody. So often you have a lion sitting above you. It's normally us looking down on them. Hello, Miss Mercedes, we were looking there at the lioness sharpening her claws. And you want to know if they keep growing like the human nail does. Yes, they do. Just like your house cats, just like your dogs, they will keep growing. Whole life. But of course, they use them quite a lot more than a house cat uses its claws. And thank you for all the screenshots you've sent through. So I think they're probably getting to the stage where they're going to think about going to sleep for the rest of the day. They seem to have run out of steam after the excesses of the morning. Gosh, they have given us a wonderful run around. Hello, Michelle. You want to know how far we've moved along from where we started? Well, quarantine clearings, as the crow flies, is sort of basically exactly where that line's looking. About 3 or 4, no, maybe 500 meters, half a kilometer. So just over a quarter mile. So not far. Maybe a little bit more than that. Call it a third of a mile, 600 meters. It always seems like they move further than they do, but it's not often that very far. I think we'll sit here another 5 minutes and see if they do get up and do anything, but I suspect quite strongly that the entertainment is up. We will need to decide what else we can do this morning on this little piece of paradise that we're very privileged to call home. Look at the colour, it's just too wonderful. Lenny, an interesting one from Pennsylvania. You've heard us, sorry, I'm just looking at that one there. You've heard us say that lions don't attack us in the vehicles simply because they don't see us or smell us or perceive us as prey. They also are not threatened by us standing up in our bipedal posture, and therefore they don't sort of charge us and say go away or run away from us. And you want to know, does that situation change in the night? Yes, it does to a certain extent. Lenny, remember, a lion never sees a human being as a prey during the daytime. A lion sees a human being as a threat, as a predator. And so any time a lion reacts in an aggressive fashion to a human being, I mean, bar the very odd exception to this rule, which tends to kind of prove it rather than disprove it, a lion sees a human being as a threat. So if they ever were to act in an aggressive way, it would be because they felt threatened. Now, Lenny, at night time that does change, because a lion, that's when a lion is very clearly on top of its game, and also at night time we can't see, and they can tell we can't see. If you blunder about in the darkness, tripping over things and walking into trees, they'll immediately be able to see it. They will see the way that you don't see them, and then you will suddenly become very much like a prey item. So lions on foot in the night are certainly dangerous to human beings. Lions on foot in the day, almost, there certainly are far more potentially dangerous things out here than a lion on foot during the day. And they just don't realize how basically pathetic physically we are. It's a completely psychological myth that they have developed over the millennia of us hunting them, that we are physically capable. We're, as far as a mammal goes, we are physically very incapable out here. We're slow at running. We're not very strong when it comes to defending ourselves with our arms. Our greatest weapon is our brain. As I can comprehensively say to you that a lion's greatest weapon is certainly not its brain. Hello, Book Diva. You are wanting to know what a lion weighs. A lioness weighs about 120 kilograms, which is about 240 pounds. Look here, Dave. She's seen something, and I don't think she's stalking a mate. I don't think she's stalking her friends. That's Amber Eyes. Look at how she stuck her shoulders up. She spotted something. Let's just watch. Or she's going to go back to sleep, I'm not sure. So, Book Diva, about 120 kilograms, 240 pounds. A big male, 180 to 200 kilograms, which in turn works out at about 440 pounds for a big male. That's pretty large. Okay, I think we're going to pack it in now and go and see what else we can find. I don't think these I don't think these lions are going to do much. That one has got an itchy belly. That is hilarious. Just see when she lies down. I think there's something through the thicket there that caught the attention of one of them. Now, while they won't normally hunt during the day, if something was to come past here and provide them with an opportunity, they certainly wouldn't stare the proverbial gift horse in the mouth. They'd absolutely take it down if, say, a wildebeest came wandering through here. Alrighty, I think let's go and see what else we can find. We might pop back here a little bit later and see if they're still around. Good, well that was an excellent start to the morning.